In 1846, in America, there was a book called The Young Man's Guide. It was a bestseller, 16 editions by then, written by William A. Alcott, the kind of book a father might put in his son's hands. Self-improvement. How to conduct yourself. How to succeed. And in the section on choosing a wife, it takes up the question of a woman's shoes. Shoes trodden down on one side, it says. Loose on the foot, run down at the heel. These are a very bad sign. And then it goes further. If a woman goes slickshod, shuffling around in loose, broken-backed shoes, even just coming downstairs in the morning before daylight when nobody would see her, the book's advice, in its own words, is this: make up your mind to a rope rather than live with a slipshod woman. A rope, as in hanging. A respectable, mainstream, hugely popular advice manual for young men, in print for the 16th time, telling its readers that death is preferable to marriage with a woman whose shoes are untidy before dawn. Now that sentence sounds like one man losing his temper on the page. It isn't. It's one line in a full inspection the book lays out, step by step, for reading a woman's character off her body and her clothes. The book's law stated flat: there never was and never will be sincere and ardent love of long duration where personal neatness is wholly neglected. Not neatness is nice. Neatness is a precondition of love itself. And the book grants that men may be slovenly, business, lack of time, but they do not relish this in their wives. Charms and neglect of the person, it says, seldom go together. So how does a young man run the inspection? The book tells him, item by item. First, the skin. A clean skin is the first indication of female neatness. But here's the catch. Hands and face don't count for much, because anyone with soap and water within reach will keep those clean. The real evidence is elsewhere. If the suitor makes discoveries about other parts of the head besides the face, the scalp, behind the ears, that indicates a different character entirely. And the book's instruction at that point is to stop visiting her. The courtship ends. Over hygiene evidence gathered at close range. Second, the dress. And on dress the book gets genuinely forensic because it tells you the evidence only works at certain income levels. Among the rich, dress proves nothing because rich women have their dress prepared for them and put on them by servants. A clean rich woman might be filthy underneath the work of her staff. But in the middle ranks, dress is a good criterion and the tell is color, specifically white. If the white in her dress has gone a sort of yellow, cleanly hands would have prevented it. And this evidence follows her into marriage, because a yellowed cravat or shirt on a married man, the book says, speaks at once the character of his wife. Her failure is now visible on his body, walking around town. She will never take pains with his dress. The reasoning goes that she never took with her own. Even how the clothes are put on is evidence. Mean, cheap clothing can be worn neatly and trimly. That's fine, that passes. But careless, ill-fitting, slovenly dress is a warning because of the book's governing rule, and this is a direct quote: a sloven in one thing is a sloven in all things. Plainer people, the book notes, judge greatly from the covering of the ankles, the stockings. If the stockings are not clean and tight, they conclude the rest of her is not as it ought to be. And then the shoes and the rope. But you have to understand what the book thinks all this dirt actually is. Because it isn't just about tidiness. The book lays this down as an almost universal rule, all other things being equal. Whoever is most guilty of personal neglect will be the most ignorant and the most vicious. Ignorant. Vicious. Dirt is not read as dirt. Dirt is read as stupidity and moral corruption, directly off the body, the way you'd read a thermometer. A yellowed collar is a verdict. So that's one direction of the inspection. A woman can fail by being too dirty. Here's the thing. She can also fail by being too adorned. The same book has a second evidence list, and this one is darker. Earrings, brooches, bracelets, buckles, necklaces, diamonds, and the book specifies real or mock, it doesn't matter which. Nearly all ornaments a woman puts upon her person. These are named, one by one, as indications of extravagance. And the book explains why a suitor can catch this before marriage. The woman won't yet be running a house 9 times out of 10. But her dress and her little matters are already under her control. In the middle rank of life, such ornaments only serve to show the poverty they try to disguise. Mean, tawdry things, sure signs of a disposition, always straining at what it can never attain. And marrying a girl of that disposition, the book's word for it is self-destruction. Then it spells out exactly how the destruction runs, like a schedule. If you earn her a horse to ride, she will want a gig, a light 2-wheeled carriage. If you earn the gig, she will want a chariot. If you get that, she will long for a coach and 4. And it never ends, because there will always be somebody with a finer equipage than you can give her. So every dollar spent in the rivalry is thrown away. The book compresses all of this into one sentence. Reason and brooches and bracelets seldom go in company. So this is the needle a young woman in 1846 has to thread, yellowed white, vicious, loose stockings, suspect through and through, slipshod before daylight, worse than the rope. But a bracelet, extravagant, unreasonable, self-destruction to marry. Too little care and she's ignorant and vicious. Too much display and she'll ruin you. Now, fair question. Were men under this law too? Yes, down to the razor and the mirror. The same book tells the story of Sir John Sinclair asking whether a boy would be taught Latin. The reply, he would be taught something better. He would be taught to shave with cold water and without a looking glass. And the reasoning is pure machinery. Hot water requires a fire, sometimes a fire lit for that purpose alone, and either a servant or lighting it yourself. When the hot water fails, the shave is delayed, and that means another whole bout of stripping and dressing, or going slovenly for the day, or finally abandoning cleanliness altogether. On a journey, waiting on inn servants for hot water can delay your departure until the pleasant travelling hours are gone and you're caught out on the road after dark. The book warns, seriously, that important business can fail from a short delay, and that thousands of such delays daily proceed from what it calls the apparently insignificant affair of shaving. So the rule for a man, never say, "I cannot go," until shaved and dressed. Always be shaved and dressed, ready to act. The habit formed in early life and stuck to, in the book's words, pertinaciously adhered to. Alcott says of himself that he would not return to his former slavery to hot water. His phrase, even if he had a servant with nothing else to do but furnish it, even the mirror is suspect. Unnecessary looking at your own face is foolishly wasted time, and he says he would never be enslaved to a glass, however convenient. He sometimes shaves without one, like Sir John Sinclair. So this is the world. Grown men and women read like evidence. Collars, stockings, earrings, shaving habits. Where did it start? In childhood. There's another book from 1843, The Teacher's Manual, by Thomas H. Palmer, a handbook on how to educate the children of, its subtitle says, a free people. And Palmer opens with this: the children of the poor have a decided advantage over the children of the rich. Why? Because a moderately healthy child delights in open air, where his lungs can have full play and his limbs gain strength through unrestricted exercise, and poor children get that. Rich children don't, and Palmer blames the weakness and folly of their parents, who sacrifice the child's health at the shrine of vanity and love of display. He calls fashion an insatiable Moloch. Moloch, the ancient idol children were burned to, a Moloch that demands not just the devotee's soul and person, but that the child shall pass through the fire. And this is what the fire looks like. The child's body, Palmer says, is converted into a mere clothes screen for the display of the frivolous fancies of the tailor and milliner. The child must neither run, climb, wade, roll, nor play, because the clothes must be neither torn nor soiled. His sentence, everything must give way to the clothes. Once that sacrifice is consummated, it is vain to look for strength of body or vigor of intellect, and if the child survives the regime, he grows up a mere dandy. And Palmer gives the definition, in quotation, a clothes-wearing man, a man whose trade, office, and existence consists in the wearing of clothes. The dandy, the vain, clothes-obsessed man, the figure the age's own moralists despised, was not, by this account, born. He was manufactured, built from a child forbidden to run, climb, wade, roll, or play, so that the clothes would stay clean, so that the child would display well, so that he would pass inspection. The same civilization that told a young man to choose the rope over a woman in loose shoes was raising its children, from the beginning, to be nothing but the clothes.